Did you miss me?
Oh my god, bro.
Oh, hell no, man.
What's happening, everyone? Sam, aka FIFA Brit from Goal Boys, here today to go over the Saturday soccer slate. We've had a very exciting summer. Olympics were on, Euros is on, Copa America's on, but now we're back. The European domestic leagues are here, and we are back making video content for you all. So I hope you're excited, because I'm going to break down all the games that I think are worth looking at. Anyway, let's dive right into the action. We'll start with the greatest league in the world, in my opinion, the Premier League. And we'll start with the early kickoff on Saturday, Brighton against Man U. Now, both of these teams actually looked pretty good in the first week. Now, Man U did only win 1-0 against Fulham, but I'll tell you what, in the grand scheme of things, considering how poor they looked last season, they didn't look that bad this time, especially after they brought Garnacho on and after they brought Xerxes on. Now, Brighton also looked very good, but they were playing Everton, and Everton got a red card. So if you didn't look good against a 10-man Everton squad, I would be very concerned. So I'm really interested about this game because I think this is going to be a really good test to see what both teams actually look like. This is a good test for them both, and I'm expecting a pretty decent back and forth game. I'm predicting goals and I'm predicting shots. And as you guys know, predicting shots is music to my ears. I love a game where I can look at 3-4 guys on the pitch and go, you know what? Yeah, they'll take a bunch of shots and that's going to be a lot of fun. Now, the one thing is it really depends on Man U's lineup. If they line up the way they did against Fulham at the start, with Mount at the attacking mid and Bruno as a false 9, with Rashford and Diallo on the wings, I don't really like that for goals. I tell you what I do love that for, Bruno Fernandes first half shots. So if he's playing as that false 9 striker role, give me his first half shots. If he's playing as the attacking mid, I don't like his shots as much, but that's just sort of what he's being priced as. So you're sort of getting fair odds. Whereas if he's playing a striker, he's making those runs in behind, and Diallo was doing a pretty good job of finding him. So you're getting a bit of value there if he's playing in that more advanced position. The lineup I would love to see is Bruno at attacking mid, Xerxes up top, Garnacho on the left wing, and Diallo on the right wing. This, I think, is Man U's best lineup right now, and we give them the best chance at scoring a couple of goals. So it really depends how they line up. If we get that optimal lineup, I can see them getting goals, but I have less of a good read on the shots, apart from Garnacho. If Garnacho starts, he's my usual go-to Man U shots wagon. If they don't do that lineup and they start the way they did against Fulham, then we're looking at Bruno first half shots. But Brighton, problem is, they have almost too many shooters. It's kind of hard to predict one. Now that being said, they've had a really good summer transfer window, and I do expect them to get a goal. I would be shocked if Man U keep a clean sheet on the road against Brighton. If they do, fair play. Hold my hands up, you guys got me there. But this game really depends on lineups, so I need to wait to see what we get for lineups before I lock anything in officially. Don't forget, all of my absolute official locked-in plays will be in my Discord channel in Gold Boys. If you aren't signed up already, you can sign up at goldboys.com. It's a brilliant time to sign up. The European leagues are back if you love soccer, and there's loads of other sports going on as well, which is brilliant. Moving on to the next game, Crystal Palace against West Ham. Now, again, another game I'm fascinated by because I'm very curious to see how both these teams play in a second game. Now, Palace really got kind of screwed over last week. They lost 2-1 to Brentford, but the momentum of the game was entirely shifted because Eze had a brilliant free kick chalked off by the referee, and VAR wasn't even able to intervene because the ref blew his whistle to stop the play before the ball went in. I'm talking about a tenth of a second before the ball went in. Literally nothing you can do about that. So my guess is Eze is going to come out looking for goals pretty early on, and we have a home matchup for Palace as well. So give me Eze first half shots. That's exactly what I like. I'm not exactly sure if I'm definitely going to do it yet because I want to see how they line up. Mateta, if he's in or out, sort of depends on it. And really, I don't know how West Ham are going to line up. So I'm not really going to touch their props, even though they've also had a very good summer window. That just kind of makes it unpredictable. And also, they've changed their style of approach. Bowen is playing as much more of a provider, less of a sort of like cutting inside and going towards goal, so I can't really trust Bowen for shots right now, which is kind of sad, but that's the way it looks, you know, after 1 week. But it's 1 week, so we really don't know exactly what's going to happen, but that's what I'm thinking for that game. Now let's talk about City against Ipswich. This one won't take long. City by 1 million. Problem is, all of their odds suck. So if you want to sprinkle on Bernardo Silva first half shots, because he's the only one in that City offense that has really good numbers, and don't tell anyone, but he had 2 first half shots last week, which really pissed me off because I didn't take it. So if you want to do that, be my guest. I am not going to do that because he's incredibly unpredictable, and everything's probably going to funnel through Haaland, and if Foden is fit enough to start, he's going to take up a lot of shot volume as well. Probably not going to touch this game. I'm just going to start Haaland in my Fantasy Premier League lineup. And apart from that, I'm just going to pray that they lose. But they probably won't. It's City, it's at home, they're playing Ipswich. Next game we're going to talk about is Spurs against Everton. This one is really interesting because Solanke has been ruled out already. We know that ahead of time, which is quite rare. So, thank you, Ange, for letting us know that he's not going to be playing. This makes the Spurs lineup potentially very interesting. We could get Heung-min Son, rather than playing at left wing, playing a striker. Or we could get Kulusevski, who was playing as a striker in preseason. Kulusevski was actually one of Spurs' best players in preseason, playing as both a striker and a right winger. And frankly, I don't mind where he plays. I just want him to start the fucking game. I don't know how he didn't start last week against Leicester, but I do know that Spurs had so many chances and still couldn't get the win. And yeah, I don't know how they let Leicester get back into that game, but Jamie Vardy is well and truly back in the Premier League, shithousery and all. So glad to see him back, but Spurs, my goodness, please for the love of God, start Kulusevski. If Kulusevski starts, I'm not touching any other Spurs player. His first half shots are priced really nicely. If he gets the start, whether it's at striker or whether it's at right wing, I think he's going to be playing fairly aggressively. If he's playing at striker, he's got Maddison to feed him crosses and through balls. If he's playing at right wing, he can take the ball himself, cut inside, and shoot that way as well. So he's one of those guys that I really don't mind whether, you know, where he plays, but if he starts, I'm absolutely going to lock in his first half shots. As for Everton, I do not care about them at all. I think if they get a points deduction, there's a good chance they get relegated. And frankly, I'm just kind of done with them being in the Premier League because they don't even roll over and die. They lose games, but they do it really boringly by losing 1-0, maybe 2-0, or they scrape a 1-1 draw. They're not a fun team to play against, win or lose. And so, frankly, I just don't want that in my league. Last game in the Premier League we're going to talk about is the big one of the weekend, Aston Villa against Arsenal. Now, if you guys don't know by now, I'm an Arsenal fan. You should know that by now. Problem is, this is a really tricky game for Arsenal. We did not beat Aston Villa in either game last season. In fact, we didn't even score against them. Aston Villa won 1-0 in December and 2-0 back in April, which completely derailed Arsenal's final hope of winning the title. Because at that point, you needed City to drop points, and, well, they simply don't do that in the latter half of the season. So this is a big one. And I'm going to put it really simply because, spoiler alert, I'm not going to bet a side on this. But I'll put it to you very simply. If you are an Arsenal believer, and you think this is their year, then you take Arsenal on the money line. You can get it for like -120, maybe -130. I wouldn't go much lower than that. -130 is about my limit there. But if you can get it for that price, you don't have to add in goals or anything like that. You can just get an Arsenal win. And if you think Arsenal are going to do something this season, they need to start by proving it against Aston Villa, who they couldn't beat last year. So, if you think Arsenal win, brilliant, you can take the money line. If you think Arsenal are going to choke, if you're an Arsenal hater, if you think that Emery is a better manager than Mikel Arteta, brilliant. Do you know what you can do? You can take Aston Villa double chance. Or if you're feeling spicy, tie no bet. Or if you're feeling really spicy, Aston Villa money line. They're playing at home. Are they going to drop points at home? I don't know. You tell me. I'm going to be watching that game very stressed, hoping that Arsenal will win. And so, frankly, I don't want to take a side because I've got emotional stakes on the line. And honestly, even if I didn't, I don't know who's going to win this. It's a big game that Arsenal have to step up to actually do something about. But I don't know if they're going to. I really hope they do, but I don't know if they're going to. So we will see. But just, if you're going to chirp Arsenal, if you're going to come at me and be like, ooh, Arsenal suck, I better see an Aston Villa moneyline town and better double chance. Because if you didn't back them at home against a team that did not score a single goal against them last season, then you don't really have the right to say shit about fuck. Sorry. I tell you what I will bet, though. And it's something I love, and I wish I'd bet it straight last week, but I didn't. It was in a parlay, and everything else lost. That's right. If you guys don't know me by now, we're going back to Saka first half shots. Now, not only are the prices really nice, he's also got a really good history against Aston Villa. I'm locking in 2 first half shots at plus 165 for 3/4 of a unit or 0.75. And I'm also locking in 3 first half shots at plus 550 for 1/4 of a unit or 0.25. Now, in the loss that when we lost 2-0 in April, he had 4 first half shots. When we lost 1-0 back in December, he had 3 first half shots. He's coming off a 4 first half shot game against Wolves last week. Saka is feeling aggressive. Yes, he's also a brilliant provider. He had a lovely cross to Havertz to open our campaign last week, but he was also getting the ball, cutting inside, taking shots. That's how he scored his goal. He's also getting on the end of crosses from the left wing as well. He had a header at the back post, which I believe was his second shot against Wolves. So not only is he playing well as a provider, he's also playing very aggressively. And in case you don't know by now, this is a big game for Arsenal as a club. My guess is he's really going to step up, accept the fact that he is, in fact, our star player. We don't call him Star Boy for nothing, and he's going to be ripping shots often and early. So give me that Saka first half shots ladder. That is one of the plays I am absolutely locking in now. So yeah, lock that in, feel good. Locking in at 1 unit total across both steps of the ladder. I feel pretty good about that. Alrighty, let's switch over to a different league. We're going to La Liga. Not much to talk about in these other leagues. Only a couple of games really catch my eye. But this game in La Liga on Saturday absolutely looks like a banger. If you're looking at the slate, you can probably tell what I'm talking about. Barcelona against Atletico Bilbao. Nico Williams, if he's starting, because he didn't start last week because he was playing in the Euros final. If you guys didn't figure this one out, the guys that played in the Olympics and the final of the Euros didn't really play that much in the first week. They either didn't start or they started and got subbed off early. In fact, the only player that didn't get subbed off early was Bukayo Saka because Mikel Arteta is an absolute maniac and will run that boy into the ground. That being said, he did sub him off after 80 minutes, so well done, Arteta. You figured out that you can, in fact, sub Saka off the field. Well done. That's actually really quite promising for this season. But yeah, this is a big game if Nico Williams starts. Barcelona have been openly courting this man for the entire summer, only for him to turn around and basically say, no, I'm staying in Bilbao. I get to play with my brother. I'm playing for the Basque country. I'm fine here. I don't want to move to your fucking broke club. You can't afford me anyway. Go sign Dani Olmo, who you don't even need. And yeah, have fun not winning La Liga again. To be fair, I don't think he said all of that, but I could see him thinking it for sure. But yeah, if he starts, give me his shots, give me his goal, give me his assist. I have a strong feeling he's going to turn the fuck up against Barcelona. On the Barcelona side, I hope Fermin Lopez starts. I don't really know what his status is going to be because he did play all the way to the end of the Olympics, making me a fuck ton of money, by the way. My goodness. Love that man to death. But there's a good chance he doesn't start because he has been playing a lot over the summer, so if he doesn't start, I guess I hope for a slightly bettable number on Lewandowski, who seems to be scoring goals from open play and still scoring pens. Always nice when you get both of those. So if you can get Lewandowski above, like, I don't know, plus 150 would be nice. Any lower than that, I wouldn't go lower than like plus 120. That's pushing it. But if you can get a nice number on Lewandowski to score kind of hard to say no. If Barcelona score, he's probably going to be involved in some way, shape, or form. Outside of that, Yamal assist, again, he's 17 years old. He's probably going to play, but if Barcelona continue to start him and play him for so long, he's going to get hurt. So we'll see. But if he starts, the dude racked up like a crazy number of assists at the Euros, and he got an assist last week. So really hard to say no to a Yamal assist as well. Hopping over to the Bundesliga. This is the first week of the Bundesliga. We only had German Cup last week. The Bundesliga is back, which means this weekend is the first weekend where we get all the major European leagues back in action. The games that catch my eye are the Leipzig game and the Dortmund game. Leipzig are playing Bochum. Leipzig are the home team. And I'll keep this one pretty short and simple. It's kind of like the Man City game. Openda. Openda looks brilliant. He looked great in preseason. He looked great in spurts when he came off the bench for Belgium at the Euros. But for some reason, he wasn't getting that much playing time. They kept playing Lukaku, who basically lived offside. So not really much he could do there. But he's back, and I'm probably thinking he's ready to prove a point. He scored about 3 or 4 goals in preseason for Leipzig. Problem is, he's priced around minus 150 to score. I think at best, minus 120 on Fanatics. But that's not exactly what you want to see on a goal scorer, because scoring a goal is hard. I don't care how good your matchup is, scoring a goal is hard. Is Openda going to score? Probably yes. Would I bet him at minus 150 to score? No, not really. If that's your thing, then don't think he's going to score. I do think he's going to score. If you're fine swallowing that juice, pause. If you're fine taking those odds, take it. He's probably going to get a goal. Would I do it personally? No, I don't love the value. Let's talk about the Dortmund game. Dortmund are at home, they're playing Frankfurt. Now, Dortmund have several guys that look really promising. Obviously, Marco Reus, their club talisman, has just left for LA Galaxy. Really excited to bet him in the MLS. I believe he just got his visa, so he is in fact eligible to play this weekend. So that's exciting. But that means he won't be around for Dortmund. Now, Dortmund have a couple of guys that I like. Julian Brand looked great in preseason. Also worth noting that Emre Can, who either plays as a centre-back or as a defensive mid, seems to be taking their penalties. So if you can get a really crazy number, like above 10 to 1, we're looking at plus 1,000 or better. If you can get him at that price to score, you're kind of just hoping for a pen, and I guess he can also try and get one from long distance or a header on a corner. If he's worse than that, and odds are he probably is, because books probably are aware that he does take pens, not really worth it, but it's worth noting. Don't bank on someone like Brandt being the one who's taking pens if Chan is in the lineup, because at least according to preseason, Chan's the guy taking the pens. Also worth noting, as an English guy, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention Bino Gittens. He's a young left winger. I believe he's about 19 or 20 years old. Plays on the left wing for Dortmund. This kid will shoot, and he also looked really good in preseason. So if he gets minutes, whether it's off the bench or even as a starter, which he may well do, love him for shots. And if he scores, that would be brilliant as well. Switching over to the Serie A, a couple of games I'm interested in talking about, but probably not for very long. First game we're going to talk about is Parma against AC Milan. Now, Milan struggled last week. They went down 2-0, managed to scrape a 2-2 draw from that somehow, but I'm not really judging them heavily because they had to rest Morata. Again, Morata, one of those players that was playing in the Euros final, didn't start this game, and so they started Luka Jovic. Luka Jovic is not that good. So, I'm not going to touch this game unless Leao is starting at left wing and we get either Noah Okafor or Morata starting as the striker. If they're not starting and we get Luka Jovic at striker again, not touching that game. Milan did not look good with that lineup. At that point, just don't touch it before kickoff. Wait for Morata to sub on and take Morata live. Or Okafor if you like him. I have liked him since he was playing... Where was he playing? Oh god, now I'm going to look really stupid. I think he was playing for Salzburg. Don't call me out on that if I'm wrong. Don't call me out on that if I'm wrong. We'll just pretend I'm right. Alrighty, next game. Inter Milan against Lecce. I think that's how you pronounce it. I'm not exactly an expert. I am, in fact, English. But Inter Milan are playing at home. Now, if it wasn't blatantly obvious, Inter Milan are basically better than everyone in Serie A right now. They look like they're going to walk to another league title, and they just simply look better than everybody. Now, what's the problem with that? I've said it twice already. Are they going to win? Yes. Do the odds suck? Also, yes. There's really not much you can bet on in this game. Now, if you guys can find value, fair enough. But when Vlahovic is like minus 150, minus 160 to score a goal, and Inter are minus 500 on the money line, nah, I'm okay. I don't have to touch that game. So we're going to move right on to the last game. Going over to Ligue 1. That's how we pronounce it. Ligue 1. See? Bit of a wee French language going on right there. Yeah, you guys missed me, right? You missed all this. I know you did. Alrighty, let's talk about Lyon against Monaco. Now, this fixture usually has goals, but Lyon looked pretty shit in week 1, so kinda hesitant to trust them unless I see some combo in a two-striker formation of Georges Mitazaki, Lacazette, or Gift Orban. Now, Lacazette and Gift Orban were both on the bench in week 1, and they were playing with a single striker formation with Georges up top. Now, I like Georges. He had a pretty good Euros, played very well for Georgia, and he just got his big money move, so like, fair play, good for you. That being said, Gift Orban is one of the most promising young strikers in all of Europe right now. I have loved him ever since he cashed a ridiculous hat-trick bet for me at like 140 to 1, and he scored 3 goals in about 4 minutes. Fell in love with him that day in a completely platonic, admiring kind of sense. But he's absolutely fantastic, and I don't understand how you can sit his ass on the bench having signed him in January. So, God knows how Lyon decide to line up, but if they don't start 2 out of those 3 strikers, I'm not going to trust them for goals. I'm just going to look at Monaco. On the Monaco side, pretty short, sweet, and simple. I like Minamino. I believe he still takes pens, and he looked really, really good last week as well. So yeah, that is the Saturday soccer slate. Got a nice bumper-sized episode. Love talking to you guys, and I really hope you appreciate this sort of analysis. You've got one official play, the Saka ladder. Everything else will depend on lineups, and like I mentioned earlier, all of my official plays will be in my Discord channel in Goldboys. If you haven't signed up, you can at goldboys.com. I will also try and share some free plays on my Twitter. If you aren't following me on Twitter, it is at FIFABrit. Go check it out, drop me a follow, and you might catch a couple of free plays as well, especially if you are interested in using your FanDuel Soccer Boost. That one I always put on Twitter, so if you want to find something to use your boost on, follow me on Twitter and wait for the boost play. As always, if you do have a gambling problem, don't forget to call the number 1-800-GAMBLER. And yeah, thank you guys for watching. I've missed making videos, but I am happy to be back, and we will be banging out content all season long. So stay tuned for more content. Subscribe to the Gold Boys YouTube channel if you aren't already. Oh, and by the way, if you haven't listened to my podcast, The Final Third, the link to that will be in the description below. I host it with my fellow capper, Mr. Brad Thomas. And yeah, we just chat about all kinds of stuff. Good analysis too, so if you like these videos but you want to see me just like bouncing off another guy, that sounded really weird when I said it, but it's, a back and forth kind of fun exchange. If you like that kind of, repartee, that kind of banter, go check it out. You will love listening to The Final Third. Check it out, link will be in the description. Thank you guys for watching. It's a pleasure to be back. I look forward to making more content. Stay tuned for another video covering the Sunday soccer slate coming out later this weekend. And yeah, best of luck with all your bets, and I will catch you guys in the next one.